don't see anything blocking the boat. I see the resolution. I see the camera being unable to resolve the boat.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
Welcome to Flat Earth, my friend. Snacks to the
Snacks to the
back,
back.
bathrooms to the left. DJ's taking
taking
requests, and smoke them if you got them.
But in the most devastating part of the argument, you've got something that is excluded, nay, hijacked in their earth curve maths when they ascribe feet and inches values to targets. So having someone on the globe side saying, look, this target reduces in angular size. Oh, yeah. And it does that when you tell us how much should or shouldn't be seen based on how much earth curve gets in the way in these earth curve maths. That reduction in angle to the point where it can disappear completely, that's factored in, is it? Oh, it's not. Well, what's the excuse? Should we go back in time and see what the excuse for why it's not in there? Oh, it's because it was called Flurfspective, as opposed to being detailed concisely by cats currently. Could have taken a perceived win when I discussed this matter with Anthony and him on Anthony's channel. And when he got to the diffraction limit, he just rumpused the crap out of me. Now, Anthony didn't do anything about it at the time, but I was trying, or attempting, to describe the diffraction limit, a complex discussion. And he just rumpused me. Now, when he reached the point where he's like, what's diffraction? I was like, I'm going to get 3 seconds to give what is presumably going to be at least a 2-minute explanation for things reaching and breaching the diffraction limit. So I shut down, and he took that as a perceived win. Like, he doesn't know what diffraction limit is when I'm trying to explain it for about 3 straight minutes with him interrupting me constantly. Now, as a result, the trolls have taken that as, well, that's a win. Nathan doesn't know what diffraction is, when I'm desperately trying to detail it in light of a calculation with whole numbers, feet and inches or meters, ascribed to things that can get smaller with distance, to the point where they reach and breach the diffraction limit.
Now, there is a limit to how close they can get before I actually can't tell them apart anymore.
Now, even in summary now, about 1.5 years, 2 years later, it still takes more than about 3 seconds, i.e. longer than it would take cats to interrupt me to stop this devastating detail reaching an audience, and he'd prefer to rumpus me. Now he's into actually detailing it himself with the diffraction limit I was trying to explain to him back in the days when I was actually out on other people's channels, I might add, discussing these matters, in light of our victory at the Isle of Man, when we prove beyond all certitude you assume an R value you haven't got any evidence of, and ignore all aspects of perspective. Well, now here we are, 3 years later, with our opponents detailing the diffraction limit with Rayleigh criterion. Oh my god, how times have changed.
You need to do a side-by-side video. Like him doing it now and you doing it then. Oh, it's comical.
Yeah, so this is something that we've been trying to detail to you fundies. But what was it called? Oh, it was called Flurfspective, when you hand-waved it. Well, now you got one of your own side detailing the damn thing to you. That doesn't include that effect in your maths. It's not there. Doesn't matter if the building is 100 miles away or 1,000 miles away. It's a 100-foot building in earth curve maths. So while Katz is going on and on about, as the thing gets further, the angle gets more limited. Yeah, that's correct. Does the size of the building in your earth curve maths get more limited? Oh, no, it's still 100 feet, isn't it? Doesn't matter if you're right next to it or if it's 100 miles away. It's still a 100-foot building that you're going to calculate. What about that limited angle as it gets further away? Oh, yeah, that's not in your earth curve maths, is it, Katz? Nice that you're highlighting our point to your globe-believing audience now.
I'd just like to add in there that they, I know Katz has done it now, and that's because they are in a position where they need to use perspective. With, the most recent observation with the Blackpool thing, they have to not believe that, or have had to not believe that visual effects aren't real. They can state they're real in a debate. They can claim them as Earth curve when it suits them. But when you show the same exact visual effects or effects of perspective in an observation that doesn't suit them or won't help their belief, because they need these things because they can't measure and demonstrate curvature. and they never have been able to. And that's why they lost the debate in 2015. They lost it in 2015 because they couldn't demonstrate their claim. So ever since then, what they've had to do is take perspective and claim it as our curve. But simultaneously, while claiming perspective as our curve, denying that very same perspective in observations that doesn't suit them. And this is only just like a milestone really with conspiracy cats, detailing and addressing that things can get smaller with distance, because they would not accept even a simple thing like angular size change. They would speak about it, but when it came to showing them in an observation, they would claim everything is our curve and nothing can be angular size change. And that's just angular size change. We're not even speaking about any other effects, just purely angular size change. They would not address it.
This is what amazed me. So I'm watching this on Flatzoid's channel, going, I can't quite believe what's happening. I was aghast, going, my God, conspiracy cats, you're detailing our argument to your audience. An argument that is completely ignored in Earth curve maths. And we fought tooth and nail whilst being berated as using flurfspective when detailing the Rayleigh criterion, which apparently we don't need because we're doing geometry. That's now debunked by the Black Swan. So it's like, you couldn't pick a better, from our perspective, or worse, from Cat's perspective, time to start highlighting the Rayleigh criterion. I mean, has the guy lost his marbles? From the Globe side, this is awful. Why would you do this? I mean, I'm really pleased. Great. So what's diffraction, Cats? Something that's excluded from your maths. What's diffraction? That limit that can be reached and breached for things to disappear. So something other than Earth curve then, because you've only got one assertion in your Earth curve column. Earth curve, not perspective, not flurfspective as it was hand waved 3 years ago. Now you're detailing the very effect to your audience. I can't believe our luck. It's like he's on our side. It's like Ranty, who, let's be honest, wasn't that useful when he was here, is now over there on the Globe side fucking everything up for them. And Katz, who was formerly our opponent, is now on our side telling them about perspective. We're an upside down world.
We are, Nathan, because now they're claiming perspective as their argument, and we're claiming geometry at this stage as our argument.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to...
world.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get across to the audience yesterday. Don't go past the win. At the point where you're having to say to them, no, you should be claiming Earth curve gets in the way. No. When you reach the point where someone like Craig, Fight the Flat Earth, is saying, don't listen to these flat earthers when they say a bulge should get in the way.
Rather than just listening to flat earthers parrot things like, oh, there should be a bulge of water in the way because...
Take the win. Yeah, that's right, boys and girls. Don't listen to flat earthers. Sorry, this is definitely a Globe claim, that say bulge is going to get in the way. Don't listen to those stupid people. Because that's what it's reached the point now, where people like Craig have to tell you that when we say there's a bulge going to get in the way, that we are wrong. We don't say there's a bulge that gets in the way. We've debunked the bulge that gets in the way, but can concisely describe your claim of a bulge getting in the way. But your audience should disregard us saying you say a bulge would be in the way, because it isn't. So you're going to tell your audience ignore flat earthers claiming the bulge should be there. We don't. You do. It's a bit like Simon Dan telling his audience that our reference frames are ruined.
You and your reference frames have been ruined. So
we don't have any. It's a Globe claim to prove spin. But you can tell your audience how the flatties and their reference frames are ruined, or the flatties and their bulge are ruined. No, we've just won. You've literally got to deny your own claim in the first instance now. Or start fighting our arguments about how the Rayleigh criterion can definitely be factored in, but isn't in Earth curve assertions.
We're in a good position.
Nathan, I threw one of my favorite concessions of a Glober in, I think it was Master B.
Disappearance 500 feet when the Globe model predicts the horizon is 2,600 feet away. So what's blocking the boat if it's not at the horizon yet? I don't see anything blocking the boat. I see the resolution. I see the camera being unable to resolve the boat.
Oh,
Welcome to Flat Earth.
Welcome to Flat Earth, my friend. Snacks to the back, bathrooms to the left. DJ's taking requests and smoke them if you got them.
They're so confident.
Welcome,
I wish
Unorthodox.
but
Unorthodox.
it doesn't disappear. It just
You
unresolved.
just snatched your own wig off. Unorthodox.
Look, this video I just
Yeah, that's it. When you reach the point where all you have in your memory banks is something that you've hand waved as an explanation. So presumably an Orthodox has gone, what can I explain this with? Well, he's presumably listened to many hours of us detailing the diffraction limit and the Rayleigh criterion. And then he's gone, well, it's obviously just an optical effect. It's like, what? So when we say the same exact thing happens, but it's a little bit further away and you ignore all perspective, put it in orthographic view, and then claim that a 100-foot building's got 10 foot missing, then it's not optical. Then it's going to remain the same feet and inches value, and an assertion of a geometric physical sphere edge horizon debunked by the Black Swan is going to be the cause in that instance. But if it happens a little bit closer, it's an optical effect. Yeah, welcome to Flat Earth. I hope this is sinking in. I mean, I've been like a giddy schoolboy for the last month. While I've been told in comments that I'm panicking. It's like, man, things are really turning around for us. It's great. We get to talk about perspective and how the calculator doesn't have it. We get our opponents detailing them how the Rayleigh criterion works. Happy days. Man, what have I got to do? I don't need to do anything. If you want to know how things can disappear beyond the assertion that if you assume Earth curves get in the way, go and check out Conspiracy Cat's video. He says, look, if it reaches this limited angle, it'll vanish. Yeah. Something that's definitely not in your Earth curve maths. So go and check him out. I don't need to do any work. The Globers are doing it for us.
Now, there is a limit to how close they can get before I actually can't tell them apart anymore.
I said it 3 weeks ago. Just keep letting them talk.
Or alternatively, if you want to know how there's absolutely no way you can measure 8 inches per mile squared, go and check out Ranty. He'll tell you how it's locally flat.
The same way Ranty's argument with the mountain, they'll say, oh, that's Earth curve. But then the picture that I posted in Master B with the dock house higher than the hills of the mountains behind it, they're like, well, the ratios aren't right because it's closer. No, it's the same effect. So they just pick and choose what optical effects they're going to hijack and when.
No, they don't. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm rejoicing. They might, at trench level, as Ruhif, Katz and Ranty have done, decide to take an effective perspective, pull out some data from the Earth curve maths and Google, translate it into a perspective description, and then translate it back into the Earth curve maths to make an assertion of drop. Now, that convoluted gaggle screw of nonsense isn't the assertion. The assertion is the Earth curve maths is something that you can compare to a picture to see how much Earth curve gets in the way. And if it's not quite getting in the way enough, you can refract the target with respect to the geometric horizon with 7/6 of a radius, because it's geometric and requires that R value that's debunked by the Black Swan. That's the actual claim. Earth curve gets in the way of boats and buildings. Check out any National Geographic video or any non-trench anti-flat earthers argument about what proves Earth curve. They prove it's proven by the horizon. That's what they'll say. I claim we've got an Earth curve edge that gets in the way of that boat. And look, the boat's going over it. Oh, really? Would you not say that potentially has reached and breached a limited angle, therefore you can't see it anymore because it's gone beyond the diffraction limit? As described by Conspiracy Cats? Because this geometric assertion of Earth curve getting in the way has no angular size change difference. It says the boat's 50 feet high. And it's still 50 feet high 100 miles away. Well, obviously it's too small to see. Is that factored into the Earth curve maths? No. So your actual claim, regardless of the trench level gaggle screw of nonsense they've extrapolated out from an Earth curve mathematics that they don't want to use really, because it's got a geometric horizon in it now, hasn't it? They'd rather just cherry pick out a bit of drop, do a bit of translating into a Mong trig that they're going to burn as a flat Earth claim later. And then translate it back in and say, look, it's the right amount of drop behind this Earth curve we can't see when we crop the image.
That's where they're at now. You see, now it's the case of there is no refraction, it's locally flat. LIGO proves the globe because it's so horizontal, and the perspective is curvature. And
imagine going back to 2015 and telling them, guys, you realize in 5 years you're going to be telling us in 2020 that
you don't have a geometric horizon, and then in 2021 you're going to tell us it's locally flat.
It's one.
You guys are going to tell us that.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the few times I can turn around and say, at the moment, if I was a newbie who just arrived at this very channel, in years gone by, I've said, no, too cutting edge for a newbie. You know, go and watch a bit of Mark Sargent, get your head around a change in paradigm first, and then come here. At the moment, if you just happen to land here, it wouldn't matter which side of the trench you listened to, you'd still realise it was flat.
What the angular resolution limit is across patterns that are diffracting.
Probably just demonstrating the geometric horizon.
We are not going to see the geometric horizon.
We just demonstrating the geometric horizon. I may have been talking about geometric horizons at that point.
So it was a geometric horizon. Yeah, in the Isle of Man, you drew a tangent to the bulge, Rumpus, to claim it was Earth curve getting in the way. It wasn't a refracted bulge.
Well, I may have explained that's a geometric condition, just like Mick West has...
Oh, so it was a geometric horizon getting in the way after all, then?
Never claim that the horizon we see should be at a fixed position. I'm claiming what every single glober in here claims. The Earth curvature is not the horizon. It's not Earth curvature.
Nathan, this observation looks the same every single day. The weather has nothing to do with it.
Based on my example of a hair getting too small to see at a mile, would we or would we not assume that Canada's too small to see from England at 3,500 miles? You stupid clown. Now, either you can say, yeah, that was a stupid question, it's too small. We can also give you the maths for that, it'd be the Rayleigh criterion. Maybe you'd like to mutter through me?
And every time you see the horizon, you're actually seeing the geometric horizon.
We are not going to see the geometric horizon.
No one's claiming that we see physical geometry.
It's not a visual horizon.
And every time you see the horizon, you're actually seeing the geometric
horizon is the one that you see.
And the geometric one is the one we don't see, because if we don't see it, it's not a horizon.
It's not a visual horizon, but it is.
So we don't
visible.
see it, so it's not a horizon.
You are correct. We do not observe geometric horizon.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
Changed by refraction. Do your eyes always tell geometric truth? The short answer to that last question is no.
I think 5 years ago, Chocolate, if you'd have said that, you'd have been called an utter moron, mate.
I think you're right. And now the utter moron that would have called us that is now claiming it's locally flat. It's great.
Well, I just want to point out that that very guy that you're speaking about, Rumpus, he has supported a no refraction perspective argument that involves a locally flat geometric horizonless photograph since it came out. So Rumpus is stating that it's perspective and locally flat that proves the curve, and there is no refraction.
They'll support O'Brien, won't they? That gives them a faintest hope if there's any indication that they could have some waffle around it just to keep their hopes alive. They'll support it, mate, even if it's contradictory, as they show now, to previous positions.
Oh, I think some of them have to. I don't think for 1 second that people who are in the know on the Globe side are in any way thankful to Katz for what he's doing currently. I'm almost certain that they'd rather he kept his mouth shut. Because arguing in the framework of perspective with a gaggle screw translation, with whole numbers taken from heights you haven't acquired, is embarrassing in the first instance to just a cursory onlooker. But in the most devastating part of the argument, you've got something that is excluded, nay, hijacked in their earth curve maths when they ascribe feet and inches values to targets. So having someone on the Globe side saying, look, this target reduces in angular size. Oh yeah. And it does that when you tell us how much should or shouldn't be seen based on how much earth curve gets in the way in these earth curve maths. That reduction in angle to the point where it can disappear completely, that's factored in, is it? Oh, it's not? Well, what's the excuse? Should we go back in time and see what the excuse for why it's not in there? Oh, it's because it was called Flurfspective, as opposed to being detailed concisely by Katz currently. You couldn't make this stuff up.